So Christopher Nolan made another movie. It's called The Odyssey. It comes out July 17th. It cost $250 million, and it is allegedly an adaptation of the 3,000-year-old Greek poem your high school English teacher pretended to have finished. Now, I love Christopher Nolan. I want that on the record before we go anywhere. Memento broke my brain in a way I'm not sure ever fully healed. Inception is my favorite movie of all time, a sentence I will defend in any parking lot, in any weather. And Interstellar, well, makes me cry every single time. And at this point, I think it's a medical condition. And Insomnia is the underrated middle child Nolan never talk us about because Robin Williams was so good in it that the rest of his early work looks slightly less impressive by comparison. Having said that, I almost fell asleep during Dunkirk. I'm sorry, it's a beautiful film. I almost fell asleep. Tenet, I have watched 3 times. I have read the Wikipedia plot summary 4 times. I once watched a 38-minute YouTube video explaining Tenet, and at the end of it, I knew less than when I started. So Tenet is a movie. I'm sure of that. Probably. So when I tell you I have concerns about the Odyssey, please understand, this is not a hater talking. This is a guy on his couch in the foxhole who has bled for this director. But let's start with Matt Damon. I like Matt Damon. Matt Damon seems like a nice guy, but Hollywood has now spent, and I want you to really sit with this number, somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 billion trying to bring Matt Damon home. We got Saving Private Ryan, bring him home. The Martian, bring him home. But from Mars this time. Interstellar, bring him home, but actually he's evil now and on an ice planet. And there's at least one more movie I'm blanking on, possibly 2. But well, Matt Damon has been rescued so many times I generally cannot keep track. And now the Odyssey at $250 million IMAX 70mm production, the most expensive movie of Christopher Nolan's career, and the plot, say it with me, is, well, getting Matt Damon home, or at least waiting for him to come home. So at this point, just let him stay where he is. He clearly likes it out there. He's like Princess Peach. It's like she likes to be kidnapped. So, okay, but Matt Damon keeps going back. But then there's the cast. The Odyssey has a cast like a college reunion where everyone who got famous shows up at the same bar. So Tom Holland is the son, Anne Hathaway is the wife, Robert Pattinson is the guy hitting on the wife, Charlize Theron is a witch, Zendaya is a goddess, Lupita Nyong'o is somewhere in there, and Jon Bernthal is in there as well. Maya Goth is in there as well. John Leguizamo is in there. Elliot Page is in there. Benny Safdie is also in there. And at this point, I have to assume that Benny is contractually included with every prestige film of this size, like a small fee on your phone bill. I cannot watch a movie when every 3 minutes I'm whispering, that this guy is here as well. It's like trying to read a novel where every character is also somebody in your phone. And listen, I want to be clear. I have nothing against Zendaya. I just generally, I'm curious which Hollywood committee meets every 6 months to decide that Zendaya needs to be in another major motion picture. I want to attend that meeting. I want to bring snacks. I want to ask questions. But the cast reminds me what Steven Spielberg said when he was making the original Jurassic Park, that bringing too many known people was going to be hard for the suspension of disbelief. Now, imagine what's going to happen here. But now the dialogue. Look, I am not a Greek scholar. I have not read the Odyssey in the original. I once read the Cliff Notes version in the past. But I am pretty sure that when Telemachus Prince of Ithaca gets the news that his father is finally returning after 20 years of war and witches and one-eyed giants. And don't get me started with the Cyclops design. He does not go, and I'm quoting the actual trailer, "My dad is coming home." My dad is coming home. Sir, you are a Bronze Age prince. You wear a tunic. You worship Athena. Your dad is not coming home. Your dad is returning to the kingdom. Your father has been delayed by the gods. Your father is but anything but dad and coming home. That is what a fourth grader says when his father gets back from a work trip from Cleveland. There's also a scene where Odysseus, leading men into battle, shouts, again, I'm not making this up, this is in the trailer, "Let's go." Like you're Mario. Let's go. Are you a Greek warrior? Or are you trying to get an Uber? And before anyone starts typing, yes, I know they're not actually speaking ancient Greek in the movie. Fine. But there is a difference between modern English and modern English where Robert Pattinson, which with a completely straight face, tells Tom Holland, and I'm quoting verbatim, "You're pining for a daddy you didn't even know." Pining for a daddy. Yeah, that is not Homer. That is a different streaming service. but again, let's talk about how it looks. And I cannot show you. So picture this in your mind. A beach. The sun. Mediterranean. Crystal blue water. Whitewashed stone. The sky a screaming, glorious postcard blue. Got it? You can imagine, right? Now take away all of that. Pour a small bucket of dish water over it, and you've roughly got the color palette of the Odyssey trailer. Everything is gray. Everything is overcast. Everything looks like a J. Crew catalog shot in a parking garage. The Odyssey is a story set on the brightest, sunniest, bluest sea on planet Earth, and somehow this thing looks like it was filmed in Manchester in February. I miss color in movies. I miss when movies were allowed to have color. So bring back yellow, bring back orange. Justice for orange, for God's sake. And then there's the historical accuracy thing. And I'll be honest, I'm not a guy to fact check the Bronze Age, but even my untrained eye can tell that some of the costumes, some of the armor, the way people stand, their body language, it has that we hired a consultant and then ignored whatever the consultant said energy. Yeah, it has that energy. Which is fine. It is a fantasy movie about a guy who fights a cyclops, but you can't ignore the consultant and have everyone speak like they are texting. So I am generally worried this is going to be worse than Gladiator 2. And Gladiator 2 had a man riding a rhinoceros, riding it like a horse, steering it. That is the bar nowadays. That is the bar I am setting for the most expensive film of Christopher Nolan's career. Do better than the rhino riding guy. So here's what scares me. Nolan is right now in the most dangerous phase of any great director's career. He just won Best Picture. He is a god among filmmakers. No one can tell him no. No one in that room can say, "Chris, maybe Telemachus shouldn't say my dad." And we have seen this story before. We watched Ridley Scott, the man who made Alien and Blade Runner, slowly disappear into a fog of his own confidence and emerge holding a sequel about a CGI baboon. We watched M. Night Shyamalan, the man who made The Sixth Sense, decided that he personally should appear in his own movies as a wise gardener. So greatness, unchecked, becomes a man making a Greek epic where everyone says, let's go. So I don't want that for Christopher. I love Christopher. I am rooting for this movie. I will be in the IMAX theater on July 17th. Front row, 70 millimeter. Big stupid bucket of popcorn. Maybe it's a shape of a helmet or something. Ready to be wrong. But if Tom Holland looks into the distance, sees a sail on the horizon and whispers, "That is home," I'm walking out. And I'm taking the popcorn with me. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Sin Surgeon. Much love and bliss.